On this first page of our solar returns feature, you'll find my preferred techniques and key points to consider when interpreting solar returns, as well as an example solar return interpretation. Note that I sometimes abbreviate solar returns as SR. On page 2 of our solar returns feature, a second example of a solar return at work. On page 3 of our solar returns feature, more techniques for fine-tuning a solar return analysis. On page 4 of our solar returns feature, interpretations of the ascendant sign in the solar return chart, as well as the natal house brought to the solar ascendant. On page 5 of our solar returns feature, interpretations of the solar return sun in aspect to other solar return planets and points. On page 6 of our solar returns feature, the importance of the moon in the solar return chart, by sign, house, and aspect. On page 7 of our solar returns feature, comparison of books and suggestion of resources for interpreting solar returns. General. A solar return chart is a chart calculated for the exact moment when the sun returns to its natal position, within 2 days of one's birthday. This chart can be read much like a natal chart, except that it must be kept in mind that it is in effect only for the course of a year, approximately from birthday to birthday. Some astrologers believe the solar return is in effect for a longer period of time. It is especially important to have an accurate birth time when working with return charts. Note that you can create your own solar return chart with some key interpretations with my zodiacal free chart service. Note that astrologers work with lunar returns and planetary returns as well. I interpret Venus returns here. Keys to interpreting solar returns. A solar return chart can be read in as much detail as desired. Some key points to consider are as follows. 1. The ascendant of the solar return chart will color the individual's approach to his or her environment for the year. For example, if Aries is on the ascendant in the solar return chart, the individual may approach the year with increased energy and enterprise, and perhaps with some impatience. It describes the individual's overall temperament and attitude during the period. Read more about the solar return ascendant sign. The ruler of the ascending sign, and its position by sign, house, and aspect, will hold more information as to the individual's general temperament and focus for the year. To note which planets and points in the natal chart, if any, are effectively brought to an angle of the solar return chart. Let's say, for example, that the solar return ascendant is 22 degrees Virgo, and the natal position of Venus is 24 degrees Virgo. The natal Venus is, therefore, conjunct the solar return ascendant, and one can presume that the condition and issues surrounding the individual's natal Venus will be highlighted, effectively coming to the fore, in the solar return year. This consideration shows us what natal conditions, or inherent personality issues, are highlighted in the year of the solar return. If, for example, you have a natal Sun square Mars, and the Sun is on the solar return ascendant, perhaps with Mars on the Mahivan as well, we can safely presume that the Sun-Mars struggle or challenge will be especially highlighted in both a personal, ascendant, and public, Mahivan, manner. 3. Similarly, note which solar return planets are on or aspecting solar return angles. These are transits that are emphasized in the year of the solar return. For what is the condition of the Sun? Where is it located by house? We know the sign, of course, because it will be at the exact natal position. This can show a strong area of focus for the upcoming year. The house position of the Sun in the SR chart shows which areas of life the individual wants to shine. The individual will take pride in this part of his or her life, and a big ego investment lies in this area. He or she has the opportunity to rejuvenate this area. What kind of aspects does the Sun make? See interpretations of the solar return Sun in aspect. 5. Another area of focus this year can be found by determining which natal house is effectively brought to the ascendant. For example, if the solar return ascendant is 14 degrees Cancer, and this degree is found in the natal 5th house, the natal 5th house is effectively brought to the ascendant, and will be another area of focus. 6. Where is the moon? The position of the moon by house and sign will show where your heart is, so to speak. If, for example, the solar return moon is in Libra in the 5th house, you are likely to be emotionally tied up in, and concentrated on, love and relationship. A strong need for personal self-expression will be characteristic of the year, and emotional ups and downs are likely to occur in this area of life, simply because this is where your heart is. This is the area of life that you have the biggest emotional investment in, and you may not be completely rational and in control in this area. More than simple fluctuations will be in store in this area of life if, for example, the moon is also forming a square to Pluto in the solar return chart. Profound changes are likely to occur here. Thus, factoring in the moon's aspects will help refine the reading. Read more about the solar return moon by sign, house, and aspect. 7. Note that a solar return chart can be read much like a natal chart, always keeping in mind that it is transient rather than permanent. If you are interested in looking at a specific area, such as finances, you can study the return's 2nd house, 8th house, and the condition of Venus. For example, if solar return Venus is opposite solar return Neptune, especially if Venus also rules the 2nd house in the solar return, you might presume that either this coming year there is less emphasis on materialism, or that your income might be fluctuating and somewhat unstable. 8. Get an overall feel for the solar return chart by examining hemispheric emphasis, whether or not it is scattered, and which houses, angular, succedent, and cadent, are emphasized. Also, note the qualities of the dominant signs of the year, cardinal, fixed, or mutable. 9. You know the upcoming year will be a big one, in a transitional sense, when the solar return sun forms a hard angle with the solar return moon. This is also true when the sun is conjunct a solar return angle. 10. A consideration that I have found to be particularly significant is critical degrees. The most significant critical degrees in solar return interpretation are 29 degrees and 0 degrees of any sign. When found in the SR chart, there can be significant events surrounding the energy of the planet, point itself, and/or the house it rules in the chart. I do look at the classic critical degrees as well, but as a secondary consideration.